I'm good, thank you. It's a lovely sunny day.
It is. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Considering we're nearly in November.
I
Scary.
know.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Where are you? In London? No, Brighton. Brighton. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the blustery south coast.
Yeah. One of my favourite places actually to be. Yeah.
Oh, oh, is it?
Yeah, I love Brighton. Yeah.
You're in Hemel Hempstead, right?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Sunny Hemel. Not quite on the map like Brighton, but still.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, it's really great. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time today. You're one of our speakers, one of our 9 speakers at the Making Your Cash Flow event on the 22nd of November, an event very close to my heart. I came up with the idea thinking about women in business like myself, was thinking about the challenges I've had and some of the clients I've had, really getting a handle on their money, really coming to grips with it, really thinking about investors, thinking about selling, thinking about actually just managing their books. I'm thinking we need to have an event, especially for women, to focus on this stuff. And you were one of the amazing speakers who came forward, and I loved the way you talked about what you did, and I knew it would definitely enhance the event. So I really appreciate it. I'm so looking forward to the 22nd of November. It's 5 to 9. It's going to be packed full of inspiration, but also very practical tips, which is exactly what people need. So thank you so much, Helen, for being here. We've got quite a few people coming on actually. So if you're there, it never tells me who you are. So please do say hi. Jules White from Passio.
Hi, Jules.
You know Jules, and you're in
I do.
sunny Milton Keynes. Fantastic. And we'll see who else is willing to admit they're watching. But please do write any comments, any questions you have for Helen or myself, and I'll try to keep an eye on it, and we'll answer them if we can. So tell us a bit about you, Helen. Tell us a bit about your journey to where you are and what you do.
Yeah, great. So I am a leadership and business coach for mainly female entrepreneurs, really helping them to go from feeling maybe overlooked in the business space to standing out and being recognized as experts in their field. It's been a really interesting journey for me because I didn't start out doing this. So for 15 years, I was in the corporate world.
Right.
I was in senior HR, leadership development, executive coaching, and very much enjoyed that role, climbed the ladder and all that sort of stuff. But when it came to 2012 and having my first child, it all completely changed. And I lost my confidence and returned to work a kind of shell, really, of myself, which had a massive impact on my performance. And I ended up leaving that very good job, that high-flying career. And I started up a business doing something completely different because I thought that was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
In child sleep consulting. Yeah, which
was that from personal pain? Was it from a place of personal pain?
Oh yes, it was. It was. So in my time off, I was inspired because my daughter had had health issues and was I was sleep deprived and I had all sorts of complications with that. I wanted to retrain, but looking back, really, it wasn't about that. I was actually kind of running away from my corporate career because I didn't think I had those skills anymore. I didn't think that I had what it took to do that type of thing anymore. So it all sort of came to a head. Things got quite bad in my personal life, and I was kind of forced to look at what had been happening and how I'd become so lost and untethered. I completely sort of couldn't recognize myself anymore and couldn't anchor myself to any type of identity, and therefore had no confidence. I was someone who used to stand up and train people, present to senior leaders, and then I went into a hole really and did my business online, sleep consulting, and didn't really speak to anybody.
Okay.
So the journey to get that confidence back was a really interesting one, and it meant that I was able to discover that I could use my corporate skills and experience, and I could use that in another way to build a business that helped people to do the same thing. So I've taken my corporate sort of leadership development experience and I've placed it into the entrepreneurial space. And really helping women to build businesses based on sort of strong foundations of their unique abilities and strengths, their stories and how they can harness the power of using stories to stand out as leaders in their field. And quite a few sort of things I specialise in. One of them is public speaking. So I went from being in that hole to then setting myself a goal in January last year of doing a TEDx talk, which I was able to do in October last year, which was incredible. And since then I've sort of gone on to help other people to raise their confidence and authority and expert status through public speaking as well.
Okay, right, yeah.
And I'm, you know, continuing to be a speaker and absolutely love it, which you know, which was what I'm doing at your event, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so we've got to TEDx, you know, knowing that we've got someone of your caliber coming is really brilliant. You know, all the women who are coming are high caliber, but knowing that you've had that TEDx audience and that TEDx experience, which they do vary actually, don't they? I don't know how yours was, how much preparation you had to do, how much they sort of worked with you. Was it quite a lot with your TEDx talk?
It's really interesting because now I'm working with more and more people who are applying for and getting TEDx talks. It really does vary, but for me, I actually applied. It was for Brighton TEDx, which is a large 1,500 seats.
Yes, wow.
I applied sort of 3 months beforehand and was told that they were full, and then 2 days before the event,
oh my gosh, wow!
I get a call saying someone actually can't make it and we're going to put you to a committee vote, but it's going to take 24, it's going to take some time. So 24 hours before I got the come down, sound check, and you're on tomorrow. So it was a whirlwind experience, but it was the best thing that could have happened.
You didn't have the anxiety, which is a good thing. I'll just say a quick hi, Neve in Ireland, in sunny Cork. Nice to see you.
Hi, Neve.
I had an experience. I spoke at TEDx Reading, and for that one, they wanted me to have weekly Skype calls with them and practice my talk. You know, they wanted to make sure I had it dead on in terms of time, you know, that it was spot on in terms of delivery. It was very, you know, it was very carefully orchestrated. And then I did a TEDx King's College London, and I don't know if it's because they knew I'd done a TEDx talk before, but the first time they saw me perform it was the night before, you know, the practice the night before, and and that was it. So it was very, very different in terms of the process. So so I think they're all different. But the thing about TEDx King's College London is that they did offer me coaching. They said, if you want a coach, we will give you a speaking coach, which was really good. I had a short conversation with him, and it was a little bit that, you know, I have done it already, and, you know, so he didn't really have too much feedback for me, but I thought that was a really nice touch.
I watched that talk the other day, by the way, and I loved it. Really loved it. I loved the way you opened it. It was very, very powerful, about your grandmother.
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Really powerful.
Oh, thank you. Jane Jones says hello to us both as well.
Hey, Jane.
Oh, nice to see you. So thank you so much for sharing a bit about your journey. I think having a child definitely can be quite a turning point for a lot of women, can't it? I left my job that I had. Well, I asked to go part-time and they said no, so I ended up leaving my job when my daughter was little, and then really floundered in my career trying to find the right thing. And it was in the business school that I went to work for that I discovered coaching. So these things are always the right thing, but they don't always feel like it at the time, do they?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
That's the hard bit, getting through that. So what attracted you to speaking at our event? What did you know, you heard this making your cash flow. What was the thing that made you think, yeah, that's somewhere I want to be?
I think there's a number of things that attracted me to it. The first thing is, I think that when we think, and I will probably talk about this a bit more, but for me, it was a big scary thing when I was starting my business. And, you know, it's not, you know, it's not a breeze now, but, you know, the thought of it all was a big, you know, it was a big issue. It was a big challenge for me, like a big mountain to climb, because it was a complete unknown. You know, I've been used to all of my career receiving a nice salary in the bank account every month, and I didn't have to worry about it. And so for me, thinking about, you know, the women that I've helped, you know, in my community, in my clients, and how we feel about the subject of money, I just thought it was a really good opportunity to try and kind of humanize it a bit, and you know, make it not so scary and for people. So that was one reason. And then I do actually see you as an inspiration, you know, in terms of what you've achieved. You're an author. You've spoken at TEDx twice. Our backgrounds, I think we do have similar.
Yes, definitely the leadership development. Yeah,
backgrounds, and to see you doing something like this, I thought, gosh, that's amazing, and I'd just love to be a part of it. So,
oh, thank you. Well, I'm so glad you are being a part of it, and I think you're going to be such an asset to the group. I want to say that you look so young, you lucky thing. Well, you need to whatever it is you're using, you need to be selling that as well.
Well, that's very kind of you. I must say, Jenny, that this time last week I was not looking like this. I've been quite poorly, and it forced me to kind of rest and reevaluate what I was doing. And so I've been really taking care of myself in terms of sleep and things like that. So that's, and a bit of new concealer.
Okay.
But I'm 37, so I'm knocking on 40's door.
Yeah, you're looking good. So just don't tell anyone how old you are, because you look amazing. Yeah, because I was thinking, well, she said 12 years, and then she was like, no, she can't be old enough to be doing all this. No, you're looking good. But it's good to listen to your body, isn't it? Sometimes it's telling you just slow down, and you can when you're working for yourself. The networking, the events, the constant, getting back to people, it can be draining. So that idea of, how am I going to refresh and so I can be better tomorrow?
It was much needed, as you say. For me, all this, the opportunities, it's all great and fantastic, but I haven't been quite prepared for how to deal with it all. So it all came to a bit of a head, and I got poorly, but I learned some lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I run retreats, because we need them, and I run them for myself just as much as I run them for the people who come along. So okay, breathe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really good thing. And the public speaking that you've been talking about, for me, really came into, I was facilitating training and that sort of thing, but public speaking in a really authentic way did come to the fore after I wrote my book. It was sort of, this is my story, this is something I care about, this is something I want to change in the world. And I found, public speaking is really powerful in terms of being able to deliver a message that you really care about. I think you have to care about it, don't you, to be able to.
Do.
Yeah.
The study that a man called Carmen Gello did on 500 TED Talks, and one of the highest things that came up as a result was passion. Passion. If we have passion, we don't have to be an expert speaker. We don't have to be an expert to deliver a really powerful message through the art of speaking. And I think that's why I love it so much. It's because every single talk is unique. The speaker and the way the audience receives it as well, and that's what makes it stick, and that's what makes change really happen, because people see that and do something with it. So it's one of the reasons I love it.
And I can hear that if I was getting some public training support from you, it would be about embracing my uniqueness. It wouldn't be about, this is that formulaic way you do it, because I don't know about you, but when you heard a speaker who maybe either they've delivered a talk too many times or they've been trained in a certain way, you can see that they're anticipating that they're going to laugh now, or they're anticipating that they're that this is going to happen now, and it just feels a bit mechanical, and then not so good.
The whole traditional way that people have been taught how to, it is quite mechanical, whereas I think the magic really happens when people connect with the audience and let it flow in a way that, while still preparing, of course, and not winging it completely, but really connecting with the things that they, the stories that they connect with, the things that they're passionate about, that they love, and then, it will all fall into place.
Wonderful. So, how important do you think it is? I know you said your clients aren't all women, but a number of them are in business. How important do you think it is that they do get a handle on their money, that they kind of understand their business money or their finances in general?
So it's about 99% of my clients are women. But the odd male sneaks in there, but
me too.
it is really important, because certainly from my own personal experience, I think it's really important in order for you to take your business seriously. Because I think a lot of us, particularly women, particularly if you've launched a business to more suit your lifestyle, whether that be having children or whatever it might be, sometimes we perceive and others might perceive it in not a serious way. And so therefore, if you don't take it seriously, you're not going to be in control of an insight of the figures. And for me personally, I didn't do that. Because I didn't take it seriously. I wasn't taking it seriously because people were kind of, you know, influencing that, and so therefore I didn't look at the numbers. I wasn't keeping track of what was coming in, what was going out, and I had a lot. We all have a lot of expenditure, particularly, you know, in startup phases. You are investing.
Yes.
It's good to continually invest. You know, I'm continually investing in myself, my business. I think it's really important to do that. But at the same time, you've got to know what's going in and what's going out, and along with that, have some clear goals of what it is you want to achieve and what you're actually going to do to make that happen every month. So I do think it's really important that, well, we're confident to keep sight of our numbers, but also that we're taking it seriously, because it is serious. It's a proper business. And if you think that way, then it will be. And then you'll see the results you want to see.
I completely agree. You got some likes then. So I think some people liked what you said then. And I think that idea of you taking it seriously is important because, you know, it's so easy, I think, when you start out to say, oh, yeah, I'll give you a discount, or I'll give you a freebie because, you know, I want some practice, or I want a testimonial, and, you know, getting to that point of charging and then also charging your worth. Because one of the first things that I found out, and it's, you know, it's a while since I started my business, but I remember recognizing that actually, well, it wasn't right in the beginning, but at one point recognizing I could charge at this rate, but I'd have to probably work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for that to mean anything. And it's actually physically not possible. Even if I had all the clients I wanted at that point, I couldn't do it. And then you have to think, well, actually, some of my time I need to network. Some of my time I need to do my bookkeeping. Some of the time I need to do some marketing. And actually, there's probably a third of my time when I can actually do the work that I'm being paid for. So that means I really do need to up my rates for me to live. And actually just taking to take a step back and thinking, how much do I need to charge, you know, realistically for this to be a viable business, you know, is one of those points just to work out. But also how much do I spend on a monthly basis? You know, that means that I need to earn at least that to start paying myself a wage. So you know, some simple, even if you're at the beginning of a business, some of those simple questions can be really helpful. And then later on you might be able to do some forecasting, or you might be able to know that there's going to be enough to employ a member of staff and those sorts of things. I think, you know, you've raised a really great point there, Jenny. For me, and it's owning your worth first and foremost, and knowing that you do have something to give, and that actually people are willing to pay money for it based on the transformation that you can provide for them, whatever that might be. If you don't start from that viewpoint, it's almost like you are building a house on sand, so to speak, because of, you know, believing that, yes, I do have something to share here. I've got some great skills and experience, and that people are willing to pay money for it. So that you can start charging your worth. I wasn't doing that with my first business at all. I learned that the second time around. But and I love that, because we all are works in progress, aren't we? And, you know, one of the things about business is that we've got to make some mistakes to learn.
Always.
You know, you could read every book, you could go to every I don't know, seminar. You know, you have to make some mistakes. That's just part of this process.
It's essential.
So what do you think the challenges are specifically for female entrepreneurs, you know, in business and around their money?
Well, I think so I think the point that I've raised there is a biggie. You know, a lot of from my own experience and pretty much every client that I've worked with, it's believing, first of all, that you have something that people are willing to pay good money for, and secondly is having the confidence to put yourself out there, to, you know, to command those prices. I think that's, you know, a big challenge for lots of women, because of this whole, you know, self-belief, because of the inner critic that we had that sometimes speaks too loudly in our ear. And so for me, it's about getting really logical about that and understanding exactly how you help the person that you want to serve. I'm talking mainly service-based here, but of course it works for product-based businesses as well. But because I kind of specialise in service-based, it's about really working that out. Who can I serve? What are they like? What are their problems? How can I meet those needs with my services? And therefore, what does that look like in terms of a package or an offer?
Yeah.
And do it that way. And I think once you're over that challenge, things become a lot easier. Also, I guess the other thing is having a strategy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the clients that I work with, and the lovely ladies in my audience, they kind of know that they have got something. They don't know what to focus on first to start telling people about it. And then it's that, but then I don't like going for the sale, or I don't like telling people about, because I just want to provide value and I just want to help everybody.
Yes.
But ultimately, if people don't know about what it is you can help them with, they need it communicating to them, particularly in online marketing. There's lots of value that you give, but it's very much about, you've got to tell them, how can they get in touch with you? How can they book a call? How can they sign up to your program? It needs to be spelled out clearly. So I think those are kind of the main challenges that I've personally faced and my clients have faced. It's believing that you're worthy of it, and then actually having the confidence to put yourself out there. Can you hear me okay?
I get that. And you did break up for a second. Well, it looked like, I think you spoke, but then maybe you're on a bit of a delay. But I did get it all. So this logical, I heard what you said, this logical approach and taking a step back and thinking, how can I help my clients? So almost sometimes we're too close to our service, to our product, and we don't think about it from the customer's point of view, what they need in order to buy. So being smart about that. And then this thing about the sort of gremlins, the limiting beliefs, the thoughts in our head that maybe might say we're not good enough, or they won't pay me for that, or any of those things. And I wonder a little bit about how you overcame, because it's really, hearing your story, this, being really great, work going really well, having a baby, going back and losing confidence. What was it that helped you overcome? What have you, even one small thing that kind of in the right direction?
Yes.
I'd love to know.
Oh, great. Yes. So for me, it was really interesting because as I was going through this journey, I couldn't see how to do this, to get this clarity. And actually, because my marriage had broken down after having my second child. I hope you can hear me okay. After having my second child. And so okay, great. I actually went through some relationship counselling. And in that time, I learned how to find myself again. And what I found was actually I could apply this knowledge to business building. And so what I did was I set this sort of pyramid in place where you take the steps to get clarity. So you're building strong foundations. And the first thing was values. So in terms of your value, your business, what are your values? What do you live and die by? What are your decision makers? What will feel right and feel wrong to let you know, yes, that's the decision I'm going to make, or not. That was essential for me. Then it was story, getting really clear on your story, not your life story, but the story that is going to most give you the clarity and confidence to know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. So those were just two. And then the third thing was strengths, which I'm going to talk about in my talk.
Fabulous. Strengths. Okay, so really good. So values, your story, and then your strengths. There's so much resonance between us. It really, really is. I mean, this is, I base everything on thinking about your values and, what your guiding principles are. And I think when you action your values, you are on purpose. And I think that's what we all want to be. We're absolutely on purpose. And definitely, I'm, definitely a strength-based coach as well. What are your strengths? How can we do more of it? Rather than all the things that I'm not so good at, and I have to work on. So, So there's so much resonance. We're going to have to collaborate more. I can feel it. It's really exciting to hear what you're saying. And welcome to Georgia. Don't worry about being late. You always arrive at exactly the right time. So lovely to see you, Georgia.
Hey, Georgia.
So I'd love you now to share the title of your talk that you're doing on the 22nd of November at our event, Making Your Cash Flow, and tell us a little bit about what we can expect from your session. Don't tell us all, don't tell us everything. We won't need to come, but definitely just give us a little bite-size taste of what we can expect from your session.
Great. So yeah, so my talk is going to be called Using Your Strengths to Sell with Soul. And I feel quite passionate about this because for a number of reasons. So the first is that in my corporate career, I was a strengths focused coach. So I was a strengths certified practitioner. I used psychometric tools to coach leaders, and the strength scope was one of those. And from that, what I realized is that we have all of our greatest potential inside us for many things that we are yet to achieve. And that if we can really get clear on and harness those strengths, we can tap the potential of them and achieve things we never thought possible. And so when I launched this business and I was coaching people, sales was always something that people found tricky, or they struggled with, or they felt, uncomfortable about. And so I wanted to find a way to help the people that I was working with to do it in a way that didn't feel like that, and that actually felt more natural and made them feel confident because they were using what they were good at already. And so that's where it comes from. It's really tapping into what gives you the most energy, what you could do all day long and not get bored, and harnessing that to be able to sell. And you almost kind of remove the word selling from that process when you're doing things that you love and that you enjoy, particularly when that relates to communicating with other people as well. But that's in a nutshell what my talk's going to be about. It's going to be about how you can, first of all, tap into your strengths, identify what they are, and then how you can use that in business to put yourself out there, connect with other people, have conversations that are natural, that feel good, that are full of integrity and honesty, and ultimately get the best result for the person that you want to work with. Because that's what it's all about. It's not about coercing anybody. It's not about lying or anything like that. It's just about coming from a place of where you can offer the most to people, and using your strengths to do that, to me, is the best way.
Yeah, fantastic. It sounds so exciting, and I think that's one of the things people often say. I don't want to put myself out there, and the public speaking aspect, and also I don't want to sell to people. I don't want to come away feeling grubby like I've been selling, like I'm a used car salesperson. And you definitely don't have to do it that way. So I think you'll help people to do it from an authentic place, but also reframe what they're doing. If your service makes a difference to people, then you need to let people know about it, and you need to find a way to do that. That's right. So we've got a couple of Diane from Canada. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you joining us. And Georgia says, using what you're good at. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, you're quite far away, some of you, but if you want to get on a plane from Canada or Ireland to come to our event on the 22nd of November, you'll be most welcome. We'll give you a special reserved seat at the front of the room. It's from 5 to 9 at NatWest in Bishopsgate. And I will put the link at the bottom of this Facebook Live after we've closed up. So before we do we have any last questions or any thoughts that you'd like to share with Helen? You can hear it's going to be an amazing session, using your strengths to sell with soul. I'll be talking about female breadwinners, which is my big topic, the growing trend of female breadwinners and how we juggle work and life. We're going to have people talking about angel investment, about growing your funds from between 5 and 25,000 without growing your list. We've got people talking about bookkeeping, wealth creation, and so much more. And it's going to be a great opportunity to build community. I don't necessarily say network. I think we build communities as women, and I think we're going to do that through this event. So any questions or last thoughts for us before we wave goodbye? Georgia. Oh yes, I'll be listening again and checking that date, Jenny and Helen. That's lovely. That's really, really good. So,
awesome, Georgia.
Yeah, yeah, really good. And we've got a person, just before we close up, we've got a person in common, haven't we? Zoe. She said that she knows us both. How do you know
Yes.
Zoe?
Yes, Zoe. So Zoe, I know Zoe from Inspiring Talks Brighton.
Ah, okay.
So
Right.
I spoke at her event the other week.
Ah,
We're in the sort of same community, and she's a guest expert on my upcoming group program as well. So,
brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Excellent, excellent. And she's one of my Happinistas.
oh,
Online
okay,
group called the Happinista Project. So it's an online program. Plus, yeah, plus we do webinars and all sorts of things. And I facilitate a leadership program for women in higher education. So that's
oh,
really met her. Yes, yeah,
great,
yeah,
great, great.
yeah. So great to have connections in common. Well, I can't see any more questions coming through. So I'd just like to say thank you so much. We have a Twitter chat coming up as well, don't we?
Next
Yeah.
week, yeah.
I think it's next Tuesday. So look out for that, because that Twitter chat is specifically on the topic of using your strengths to sell with soul. So if you want a little bit more of a teaser of what we could possibly have on the 22nd of November, do come and find our Twitter chat. And if you look for the hashtag making your cash flow, you'll be able to find it by looking for that. So thank you so much, Helen. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your words of wisdom. It's been really good. I've really enjoyed getting to know you better, and
Me too.
I can't wait to meet you on the 22nd.
Me too. Thanks so much, Jenny. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.